Before I begin, I'd like everyone to find their focus. So, put your feet on the floor, press your back against the back of your chair, and take a big deep breath out. Now, we'll take a few deep breaths. So, breathe in for 4, 2, 3, 4. Hold for 4, 2, 3, 4. Let go for 4, 2, 3, 4. And hold for another 4. This method is called box breath, and it is famously used by Navy SEALs during tense situations. But it is a useful way to learn how to connect to yourself between the lines of our everyday lives. First, we need to acknowledge that there's a pressing issue with our lifestyles. A study conducted by Ohio State University found that there was a 40% increase of feelings of stress and burnout within their student body in only 4 months of school. This shows the preoccupation of students, where looking forward is more important than being in the moment. Gia Tolentino is a New York Times staff writer who explores American cultural norms. In her book, Trick Mirror, she explores the fast-paced nature of us, and she uses the analogy of Sweetgreen to show this. Sweetgreen is a restaurant. There's one pretty close to here, but she calls it a refueling station. She describes it as a place where customers line up in assembly line fashion, and the workers scoop monotonously into the bowls, and when the customers receive their bowl, they sit glued to their computer screen, scarfing down their salads in an attempt to conquer the unhealthiness of urban professional living. That means that during your one break from work, your meal, you choose to stay glued to the screen and move ahead rather than being in the moment and pausing. I can relate to this feeling as well. Whenever I have a week of exams or a lot of tasks ahead of me, I make a checklist. And sure, that's great for organization, and it makes sure that I am successful in whatever I want to do. But when my week goes by, I look back, and time is a blur. Whatever I accomplished, I don't feel anything because I forgot to connect to myself in the moment. But when I stop between each task, take a break from homework, maybe watch TV with my parents, just connect to things that I like doing, after my week goes by, I look back and I smile and I'm proud of myself for accomplishing the same thing. So, we know that mindfulness is beneficial, and this is shown by the widespread nature of it even before globalization. In communities in China, ancient Egypt, in Judaism and Hinduism, all of these people found ways to connect to themselves. A study conducted by Ben He at Carnegie Mellon University studied 2 groups of monks, those who meditated and those who did not. He found that the group of monks that meditated had a decreased activity in their default network of their brains. This means that they were better at being at rest. So, why is that important? Why is your brain being at rest so good for you? Well, he found a decreased level of cortisol levels, which are the chemicals in your brain that produce stress. So that means that these monks who meditated, who regularly paused from whatever they were doing, had trained their brains to not look forward to the anxiety of the future and to not be held back by discouragement of the past. So, how did all of these practices reach America? Well, I'm sure we all know in the 1960s, the flower power culture. This was because of reformed immigration policies by the US government. So, a surge of immigration occurred from Asia, and these people formed Buddhist centers, Hindu centers. They created classes at universities. Additionally, youth traveled to Asia and brought back the practices when they were in the Peace Corps. There was also the mindfulness movement of the 70s. These practices popularized so rapidly that now we have yoga studios like on every corner. And I'm really grateful for this because of what mindfulness has done for me. So, my spiritual journey started about 4 years ago when I started doing yoga. But I just saw it as a way to move. I didn't think to myself what the benefits would be. I didn't think to myself what it was, other than just moving my body, getting a little exercise. I mean, it was COVID. I was sitting in a chair all day, so that was good. But then, a year later, and I walk into this studio. You can actually see a picture of my friends up there and me in that studio. And I meet this woman named Lotus. And she told me to let go. I didn't know what she meant, but then she told me to start moving my body in these weird ways and making like hissing noises, dragon noises, lion noises. And I was uncomfortable. I didn't do it. I was like waiting for her to make a move or something because I was not going to be doing that in front of her for the first time I met her, until I look up and she's doing it. Her body is moving. She's making those crazy noises. But the important thing is that when I looked up, I saw the strongest woman I've ever seen. I saw her connect to her body in a way that was new to me. She looked so free. And so that inspired me to do the same. And I let go. I didn't think about her judging me. Obviously, she wasn't going to judge me after I'd just seen her do that. But so I made those weird noises. I moved my body. And I felt the same strength. I felt grounded. I felt connected to who I was. I felt my creativity. I felt silly. I was having a great time. So, how can we all be mindful? I mean, what even is mindfulness? Is it an achievement? Is it a goal? It's a spiritual connection, and it starts with what you love. So, the first step is ask yourself, what am I passionate about? What is it that when I do it, I'm not thinking about what I have to do. I'm not thinking about what I have done. I'm just in the moment doing what I love. Once you find that, devote 5 minutes of your day to it. Just 5 minutes. Put your homework away. Leave the computer and draw. Dance. Sing in your room. It might annoy some people, but it's going to be great for you. Just do whatever you want. Do what makes you feel in the moment. With devoting time to that and regular practice, you'll change your weeks, your months, your years, and your life.